Hello, hello, hello. All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SHEQXEL Live. All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. You're welcome to SHEQXEL Live. My name is Sel, and it is very exciting to come your way once again. All right. So we're actually live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And I just want to use this moment to welcome each and every one of you, all of you guys who will be showing up. I just want to thank you all for making time. And those who will not be able to watch, we are streaming live, so this session is going to be recorded. You can always catch up with us and engage with our content. All right, so my name is Sel. I'm the founder of SHEQXEL. I'm a health and safety practitioner, and I specialize in developing health and safety solutions to make health and safety job much easier and exciting. So basically, we have a lot of amazing templates to share with you guys so that you can make your safety job much more easy and exciting, right? So as a safety professional, I always understand the importance of having amazing working tools that are very fit for purpose and make your job very, very easy, right? And actually, because I'm a safety professional, I understand your need from the safety context, right? I'm able to develop all these amazing templates using Microsoft Excel or Power BI. So you're most welcome to SHEQXEL Live. SHEQXEL Live is a forum where we share more light, or we throw more light on our health and safety solutions, how you can actually use them, how they can help you to meet the requirements of the ISO standard, and how that can actually help you in your ISO certification journey. All right, so we'll be going live this week. We started on Tuesday, today is Thursday, and it is exactly 6:32 p.m. Actually, we were supposed to start much earlier today, but I had a meeting. Actually, someone booked the meeting at 6 p.m. and I had to make time for the meeting, so we had to push this a little, later to 6:30, and that is why how come we are late today as well. But it's not a big deal. We're gonna make sure that we go back to 6 p.m. GMT. And then one of the ways around is the fact that I've removed the slot for meeting booking around 6 p.m. so we can actually have this session. So this is something that we're going to be doing every single day. And I think that is very exciting to go live, to catch up with all of you, to come your way, to engage with a wider audience, to let you guys know the person who is actually supporting, all the amazing things that you guys are doing. We are providing support with all the amazing templates to make sure that the health and safety job is much easier and much exciting. So what we do is that we perform customization services. We have pre-built template customization services basically to make sure that even when you get a template and it's not really specific, you can actually adapt it to your need. All right, so this week we've been talking about competence as an important requirement of the ISO standard. And we're looking at all the records that we use to demonstrate competence. So we started looking at the training plan. Yesterday, we looked at the training matrix, and today we are going to look at another important template, and that is the training evaluation tool. Now, training evaluation is very important because if you carry out training, you need to make sure that you are evaluating the effectiveness of the training, and the best people to give you that feedback are the people that you are training, right? And so there's always a questionnaire that you give out after you carry out your training, and you let them give objective feedback about how the training went, and you use that to actually improve upon training as a process. So this is actually us following the plan, do, check, act cycle, right? The PDCA cycle of continual improvement. That then means that every process that you carry out, as far as the management system is concerned, you must have a system of evaluating the process for continual improvement. All right, so today we continue with the conversation on competence, and today we're going to look at the training evaluation tool. Okay, so just a recap of what we've been discussing this whole week. I'll just quickly, share my screen. Yesterday, I noticed that my screen did not, my presentation wasn't showing. So today, I'm going to make sure that I check right here on my phone to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, all right. It is always good to catch up with you guys. This is something that I've started just recently, and it's really exciting already. I think that I like to stream every day. I would really want to stream every day. But the thing is that I have a 9 to 5 job, you know what I'm saying? And because I have a 9 to 5 job, it means that there are times that I wouldn't really be available like this. And that's actually sometimes affects the ability for me to provide support, because sometimes I could be far away, on the desert somewhere, and I have a meeting booked and I really have to show up. So it is quite interesting that we always make time to provide support, and I believe that this is the best means to provide support, give a lot of insight so that those who are following can actually understand exactly what they are dealing with, the template, how it works. And then if you're booking a meeting with me, you already have an idea of what the template is about, and probably it's just support, right? So this live is what we're going to be using to actually, answer frequently asked questions, show you how to use the template, and also let us all understand how relevant are all of these templates as far as ISO certification journey is concerned. So we've all seen that it is relevant for the competence requirements of the ISO standard, right? The competence requirements. So we showed you the training plan, we showed you the training matrix, and today we are showing you the training evaluation tool, right? So without wasting time, let me quickly get into it. I'll share my screen right away. All right, so we are looking at training, right? Training is the action that we take to ensure that workers are competent. And training is an important process in the management system, and this helps us to meet the compliance requirements of the ISO standard. Okay, so according to the standard, it requires that organizations must determine the necessary competence of workers that affect its OHS performance, the environmental performance, and the quality management system, right? So basically what we are saying is that we are focused on just the 3 standard, which is the safety management system or health and safety management system. We have, I don't know, it looks like I'm not sharing my screen again. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing my screen. Today also, I'm not sharing my screen, right? All right, so I'm just going to make sure that I can see my screen this time around, because yesterday I noticed that my screen was not sharing. I didn't get any feedback. So those of you who are following, I believe that when there are hitches like this, you could try and give me the feedback so that I could quickly, correct it. So this is basically the presentation showing right now, and we are talking about training. Training is an important process in the health and safety. In fact, it is the process in every management system, because workers must be trained, right? And this training process is actually meeting the requirements of competence in the ISO standard, right? And the competence, you can find it in clause 7.2 of all the standard that we are looking at. So we are looking at the health and safety management system, quality management system, environmental management system, right? And the standard says that it is important that we identify the competencies that are relevant or that can affect the performance of the health and safety management system or environmental management system or the quality management system, and ensure that we make sure workers are competent on the basis of education, training, and experience. And we must take appropriate action to maintain the competence, right? And make sure that we are keeping documentary evidence of how we maintain competence, right? So basically, we talked about the fact that training need assessment is very, very important for each job position as we engage workers. And once we identify training needs of workers, we need to come up with a training program. And the training program must be compliant. It should be able to meet the intended purpose, must consider, must make sure it has a clear learning objective. It must equally, take into account various methods of delivery of the training. It must include a system of assessing the people, right? Assessment to verify understanding of the subject. So that is actually a training program, what it entails. Then we talked about the fact that other records will mean that you need to plan training for the year, and you need to develop a training matrix for your workers, and you need to keep records of training with an attendance sheet or any form of records of completion, like certificate of completion or whatever. And it is equally important that you evaluate the training process. And today we are looking at a training evaluation tool, right? So that's pretty much what the standard is saying. So these are all the examples of training records that we can use to demonstrate compliance with the competence requirements of the ISO standard. And we all know the value of training, because training helps to improve worker competence. It helps to, improve efficiency of processes, to ensure that there are no defects, be able to prevent workplace accident because workers are very competent, right? So the conclusion is that we need to make sure we are investing in training, and that is what the ISO standard requires. That if you have workers and they have they all affect the management system. For that reason, they have to be competent, and that is basically it. So that is basically a recap of basically our reference document, right? This is the training, which is our reference document. So without wasting time, we'll just proceed to look at the training evaluation tool. That is a very, very important template. If you carry out training, you need to make sure that you are evaluating the training as a process, and make sure that you continually improve the process of training, right? So on that note, I'm just going to show you one amazing template. Okay, this is a very amazing template for conducting training evaluation. I'll just make sure my screen is sharing, so I'll be keeping an eye on my phone. I probably need a lot of screens in my studio. I have my MacBook here, and I have my other other monitor that I show my presentation. I probably need to get another one just to make it easy. Okay, so today we are looking at training evaluation tool. And the purpose of training evaluation tool is basically the fact that we are trying to evaluate training as a process to ensure that we gather feedback on the quality of the training that we are delivering for our workers. So after you have planned training, you've organized the training, you have delivered the training, you need to make sure that you gather feedback from the workers. And you need to simply give them a questionnaire to fill. All right. But then in current stages of how things are going, sometimes workers can actually use computer, right? And that is why we can have a spreadsheet like this as a training evaluation tool. So it's not always about the hard copies that you give to the workers to complete, but sometimes if you are looking to gather data, you can leverage a template like this and share it with your workers. Because there are different levels of workers. Some workers are very good at using computer. Not everyone understands how to use computer. So you are making room for those who cannot use computer and give them hard copy for them to give a feedback on how the training has gone, right? So basically, we are looking at the training as a process. And basically, when it comes to training as a process, evaluating is that you have this set of questions. So the set of questions are very, very important. These questions are very, very clear, and you are looking at various aspects of the training. We are looking at the curriculum. Was the curriculum, clear enough? We are looking at the instructor. Did the instructor do a good job? We are looking at the process of communication, basically. Let us take a deep dive into each of them. And the curriculum, we are talking about the fact that the subject matter, was it informative and relevant? Workers must agree. Whoever is completing must agree that yes. So we are looking at responses. Basically, we are looking at not applicable. I strongly agree. I disagree. This is neutral. I agree. I strongly agree. So these are basically the responses, right? So we are looking at the curriculum, the instructor, the communication, and the procedure, the overall impression. So if the subject was informative, worker must provide the response. Is the training material well organized and easy to follow? Provide a response. Is the training objectives well communicated and achieved? We provide a response. Now we are looking at the instructor. The presenter was knowledgeable. Is the presenter knowledgeable? I strongly agree, or I strongly disagree. Was there good use of audiovisuals to aid, the understanding of the topic? Was there class participation and group interaction? Was it encouraged? The presenter did a good job on the teaching materials, right? Adequate time was provided for that attendee questions. The instructor showed respect for the participants. I knew about the class appropriately in advance. So this is basically our communication. I was allowed adequate time for breaks. The room was comfortable. It had adequate lighting. Seats were well arranged. Overall impression. The training, knowledge, skills attained will be relevant for my job. I strongly agree. Others will benefit from my knowledge. I strongly agree. This training is worthwhile and should be conducted on a regular basis. I strongly agree. So basically, after you carry out your training, a worker fills up all of these questions, giving all of these responses. At the end of the day, the response is going to give a score, right? So based on the score, then we have a summary table, right? This is a summary table where we are looking at each of the sections of the questionnaire, the curriculum, the instructor, the procedure, and communication, the overall impression. We are getting 77.5%, and that is exactly what we have here, right? 77.5%. So this is just a summary. And what is the outcome of it? Now take note that as the worker provides the responses and the worker says, I strongly disagree, we give room for the worker to actually give a feedback, explain why do you strongly disagree. If the worker said, I strongly agree, or I agree, right? If the worker said, I agree, this section is not supposed to populate. Okay, of course. So take note, these areas are manual entries, right? Manual entries. So you need to provide an entry. Now, if I say I strongly disagree, there's gonna be a signal here, like a notification. You're supposed to provide an entry, make an entry, put something in there. Why do you disagree? So the worker can provide that, right? So take note, all of these are manual entries. So I'll just try to bring back the data that was there earlier, right? So we are saying that if I strongly disagree, here should show for me to make an input. If I say I strongly disagree, just take note. If I strongly disagree, here is going to gray out a little to tell you that you're supposed to make an input, right? So give an explanation why you strongly disagree. So this is how we gather feedback from training. And then we have our training summary, basically the evaluation summary. And then we have an action plan. So take note, the action plan is all based on the strongly disagree responses. We are giving room for the employee to give a corrective action, must propose a corrective action. It's not compulsory to really consider, but we are talking about consultation and participation in health and safety arrangement, and we really want workers' feedback, right? So the training that we carried out, they've completed the questionnaire, and then now they're giving us a feedback on the corrective action. So all the strongly disagree, take note. This is how the table looks like, right? Everything that was in here are strongly disagree. How many are there? There are 3. 1, 2, 3 strongly disagrees, right? That's exactly what we have here. 1, 2, 3. So we can actually filter out and we can allow the worker to provide the input. So by default, usually this is going to be blank like this, okay? And let's try to do this again. Let me just change this to agree, okay? I'm going to make it agree. I'm going to make these ones also agree. And we'll look at something. Sorry, agree. I'll make this one as well agree. Okay. Now take note that those entries are no more here, right? So it's actually blank, isn't it? So when we go back and we change this to I strongly disagree, we provide a reason why we disagree. I strongly disagree. We give the reason. I strongly disagree, right? And I come here. These are the entries right there. So all I need to do is just filter out, and then I can provide a feedback. So we allow the workers to provide an input to what is supposed to be a corrective action. The course was not relevant to my need. Could you please make the course relevant next time? We've considered that. Presenter could not cite any meaningful example. Could you now provide, please give us meaningful example next time? Who is responsible? You can recommend who is responsible and the target date. Okay. So let me quickly bring back the data so that we look at something really quick. All right, so the database is back, right? And basically we identify who is responsible. We set a deadline, a target date. So the worker can propose a target date. And take note that the due dates will be calculated automatically. The due dates will be calculated automatically. and then you can set a priority, and the action should be open or closed. So the employee can actually follow up to make sure that it has been closed. And of course, all our templates has a unique dashboard. So this is a dashboard, right? So this dashboard, we are looking at the various sections of the training evaluation, and basically the questionnaire, right? Overall impression, procedure and communication, curriculum, the instructor, what were the scores? So these are all the scores that we can use to justify the fact that the training went well or not. Okay, so we have the overall score. How many strongly disagree? How many strongly agree? How many strongly disagree? How many disagree? How many agree? All of these are there. And then how many actions are open? Take note, we have 3 actions that are open, right? Now, assuming all of these actions are closed, I'll just close all of them. So if these actions are closed, then I come to the dashboard, I go to data tab, and I'll refresh all. Take note, we've closed the action, right? So these actions have all been closed. So basically, this section is an action tracker, right? And then all of these are what we use for the report, basically for the dashboard. So these are all individual reports we can use, to communicate with our stakeholders. Assuming we want the employee to share something else, maybe communicate with another person that does the feedback, you can take a copy and paste on a Word document or whatever. So this template itself is an independent template, right? This is an independent template. So that means that the employee does his evaluation. You can see the report on the dashboard, and then the employee is happy because there's meaning to what I'm doing. It's not just a random sheet that I'm completing. I love what I'm doing. I'm giving the evaluation. I'm seeing it on the dashboard, and it's so exciting to see. You get it? So workers are happy to give feedback like this. Now take note that this template can be applied to any form of evaluation of any process. It's not only training evaluation. You can evaluate any process within the management system. And as far as the evaluation has a questionnaire like this, and the responses are strongly disagree or whatever, all of these responses, what it means is that we can customize a template like this for you. So that also means that if you're looking at this template, don't just look at them on face value. Try and understand how you can apply to your workplace, to your own processes, to your own workflow. And then you can even reach us and then let us customize something similar for you. Because we are setting the benchmark for our own set of templates. We can use that as a reference to further customize template for users, right? So that's pretty much what this template is all about. This template is for evaluating training as a process to ensure that the training process is meaningful. It's actually improving. We need to make sure it is improving. So the next time we are doing a training evaluation, we want to see 80%. The next time we want to see 100% from this very employee. Okay, so this is an individual template. It is used by just the employee, but there's someone who is responsible for the evaluation. Maybe it is the HR manager. An HR manager is saying that, okay, all the workers, and I'm sending you this file by email. So try and complete this. When you are done, refresh the workbook. You can see the score that you are given. And when you're done, just send it over via email. So what it means is that you're going to get about, let's say, 50 number of these reports, right? This report, you're going to get about 50 of them, assuming your workers are 50 and you're getting feedback from them. You're going to get 50 of this. So once you get 50 of this, how do you collate all of these responses and ascertain an overall score? To say that the training that we carried out, according to the workers, they are happy, they understood it, they say it is worth it, and for that reason, we need to keep doing it, or we need to improve. Okay, so now we are gathering feedback. So how do we gather feedback from a lot of people? Take note, this is an individual template. Okay, so in order to really collate feedback, then we're going to use another template, right? We're going to use what we call the master training evaluation log. So I'll just try to make sure it displays on the screen, right? So I've displayed it right now. This is a master training evaluation log. What it means is that we are collating all the responses from the individual template, from perhaps 50 workers. We are putting everything here, and we are building a continuous database. Take note, we are building a continuous database. So it means that we are doing a trend analysis on the evaluation that we've been doing over the time frame, not just one-off entry. It's a database we'll be building. You're supposed to be doing training evaluation at regular intervals, maybe quarterly or something, just to check the effectiveness of training. So we are building data, right? So this template is a master version of the training evaluation tool, designed for keeping a database of multiple evaluations and reporting the overall feedback on the quality of training delivery for the purpose of training improvement of the entire organization. We need to make sure that training as a process is improving to ensure workers are competent. If the training poor, workers are going to be incompetent. The effectiveness of the actions that we use to maintain the competence of the workers are going to be, defective. I mean, it's not going to add any value. You're doing training, but the workers are incompetent, and they're causing injuries here and there, or accidents here and there. It's not worth it. So we are building a database of all of the training evaluation that we've been doing. So take note. If you are building an evaluation, we have our table of content, but all of this stuff we know already. We can use it for moving around the worksheet. But take note, the main part that is very important is the approved list. So on the approved list, we are building a database. On the approved list, we are building a database of our workers. Okay. So what it means is that we have all the workers in here with their job titles. We can even have their phone numbers, because we can call them to follow up on whatever they're supposed to be providing for us. So you can have their numbers in there. We can provide a list of training topics. All the topics that we've been training workers on, we provide all of them here. Because every time we carry out the training, we want to do an evaluation of the training. So we are doing the evaluation based on the topic, right? And we have our database. So this is the main database for collecting all the input from the workers. This worker has submitted the evaluation report. So we select, of course, I'm going to be getting rid of this data so that we can see what the content is, right? I mean, how it shows on the dashboard, right? But let's try and understand the database. This person is the HSE advisor. This is contact number. The instructor that trained him is this person. The course was fire safety. He attended the training on these dates. This is the score he gave for curriculum, instructor, procedures and communication, overall impression. This is the feedback he gave, and this is the score that he gave. Remember, when we go back to the training evaluation log, the score was 77, right? So we just rounded it up. It's 78%. So everybody is going to be submitting their report. They're going to be collating everything in here. So let's try to understand. So after we collect all of the reports, we can then take our time and provide the real action plans, right? What is relevant action plan to track from your end? As a person who is managing the process, workers are giving their feedback on their own action plan. You can evaluate the relevance of the feedback they are giving, and then you can have a general, realistic, appropriate corrective action to follow up as a training manager. To say that based on the feedback I've gathered from the workers, all of them are complaining about the course was not relevant for their need. The presenter could not cite any meaningful examples. The audiovisual aid was not good enough. So for that reason, as a manager, I am going to take these actions. I'm going to ensure that I do proper training need assessment. That's it right there. Ensure training is based on training need assessment. As a HR person or training manager, I want to make sure that I address concerns with the trainer, because they say presenter could not cite meaningful example. Trainer, what are you doing? Trainer, why is it I don't cite examples? Please make sure you cite examples and all of that. Improve your skill as a trainer. Or you could probably change the trainer, because this trainer is not good. You need to change the trainer. We can do that. And all of this stuff, audiovisual, it could be that you have to develop a proper training facility for the workers. So you as a training manager, you are responsible. You provide your target date. You're following up. Make sure you close it. And after you close it, you can then see it on the dashboard, right? So this is a very simple dashboard. So take note that when it comes to our templates, sometimes we're not so fancy about dashboards. I mean, we try our best to come out with dashboards that are looking very nice and everything, but take note, the most important is the solution. So that is why sometimes if I see dashboards of people on LinkedIn and all that, and everybody's just commenting, interesting, these are just based on quantitative data. There's no logic going into the data. Sometimes they just provide these dashboards and everybody's just commenting, interested. But if you really want to understand workflow, health and safety process, and understand the relevance of database, relevance of a structure like this, and the fact that you can generate reports, and can even have a dashboard for decision making, then you are dealing with the right, person. Because I'll give you something that is very unique, that is well thought out, based on your need, based on your workflow, and then you see that your reporting is, top notch. Exactly the point. So basically, this is a dashboard, right? The dashboard is based on this database. It's also based on this database. So what we are looking at is that how many workers have completed the evaluation, right? Okay, so we didn't really take into account that, but of course, there's always room for improvement. Take note that I developed this dashboard, so I can always make any upgrade. Sometimes I just settle on what I feel is relevant. If people want additional changes, I can always do that. So I could probably say that I'm going to account for the number of people who are completing the evaluation. I'm going to put it somewhere on the dashboard, but that's not really the focus area. So basically, we are looking at how many actions are open, how many are closed. If you come to the dashboard, you notice that you have 3 actions, 2 are open, 1 is closed. That's exactly what we have here, right? So you have a large database of all of these actions. What it means that they're all going to be populating here. Again, we are looking at what is the score of the evaluation form, the workers, as far as each training program is concerned, each of the training program. So that's exactly what we have here. Accident investigation, the training that we did, 81% of the workers were happy. I mean, they were able to tell us how good the training was, and the score 81%. Office safety, the score was 64%. This score is not good enough because the workers didn't feel like the training was really relevant. The trainer was not good. Let's try and understand. That's when you can go back and look into the individual training evaluation record and see what are the workers really saying. But take note that you are even collating all of this feedback already, and you're putting them in your master log. So you could have a fair idea that the training that the workers had, they all saying that the training is not based on their training needs. The course was not relevant to them. So you already know. So as you are providing all of this input, you are going to get an insight into why the workers are not happy with this training, as opposed to why they're happy with this very one, accident investigation. So take note that overall score is what we are focused on. We want to say that training evaluation as a process, we do that, and the current score is 70%. Now take note that most of our templates, you're able to generate a score. That score can be a key performance indicator. What it means is that beginning of the year, you can set a target that our training evaluation score won't get 100%, which means that every training that you do, workers must be happy. The training must be based on their training need, the mode of delivery, the instructor should be competent. All of these things, you are making sure that each and every area, you're crossing them out so that you're going to achieve 100% score as far as training evaluation is concerned, because this is a cumulative data. Cumulative. You're going all the way down. And take note, all our templates, you are building a continuous database. So it means that it's going to take you forever to keep updating. And in case you exhaust the table, all you need to do is insert additional rows. So sometimes when people make a comment that our template is very limiting, I just let them understand. You need to come for one-to-one engagement, and let's show you. Because all of this, you can see that you can keep building the database, and take note that all our templates, there's a password in there. So you yourself as a safety professional, you are responsible to know a little bit of Excel, but take note that we've done the work for you. We have done all of this work for you. Yours is to just input your data. So we cannot be responsible 100% if you don't know how to do basic Excel to use a template. But take note, we provide support. So when you visit our website, you can always book a meeting, you can give support and all of that. And we are helping to learn how to use our templates, and you can play around, unprotect the sheet and all of that. All right. So basically, there's a dashboard. We have an overall training score. And then take note that all our template there, all of these reports that you can actually use, to communicate with your stakeholders. I mean, sometimes you can rely on the dashboard, but take note that the dashboard themselves, are individual elements that we brought together. That is basically the fact that we copied this, we brought it in here, and that is it right here, right? And this very score is based on the fact that we put in a calculation in here to know the score. We develop a progress chart, and we bring it in here to now estimate the score. Now, take note, you can do all of that yourself, but we've done the work for you, so you don't even have to do that yourself. We've done the work for you. So all of these reports are what we use to create a dashboard. All of these reports are what we use to create a dashboard. Okay, so overall evaluation of training as a process, understanding how it improves your competence how this improves worker competence. You can use this template. Okay, so if you want to make sure that all the entries that we are making here, they are showing on the dashboard, take note that you always have to go to data tab and refresh all. So we're going to do exactly that, right? So let's try and get rid of these entries. Take note that as we build the database, when you select the name of the person, all of this will populate, because you don't have to repeat making those entries again. The instructor, you have to make the manual entry, right? This section you select from the drop-down list. Take note that the drop-down list are all coming from here. We are always saying that the drop-down list is where you can predefine your parameters, and the essence is to keep the names consistent, right? Because when you make a typo, what it means is that these entries are going to be distinct. They're not going to be the same. It's going to be changing. Like, you can get a report where you are showing fire safety on one graph, then there's another fire safety on another graph, and it's all confusing. So to keep the names consistent, we select from the drop-down list, right? So let's just continue to delete the entries. Once I get rid of these entries, I have just one in there, right? This is just one entry in there. So how does that translate on the dashboard? I simply go to the data tab on the menu. I refresh all. That's it right there. Just one person gave a feedback, and that was a score, right? And then let's see the action plan. There was no action plan, right? So let's try and get rid of these entries. Now take note, the action plan basically it's coming from the individual training log, but of course you build your own action plan. So let's try and get rid of these entries. So we keep one in there, right? Let's go to the dashboard. Let's refresh all. So that's basically it. We have one action. The action is open. It was just on fire safety. That was the scope. So let's try to close the action, right? If I close the action, I just come to the dashboard, I refresh all. So that's it there. The action has been closed. So imagine you have a large database. Everything is addressed for you, right? So that is basically what this template is all about. We started looking at the individual training evaluation log for one person, and then we have looked at a master training evaluation log. That is to gather all the feedback across the workforce to ensure that we are doing proper training evaluation, and then we're able to estimate a score. And that score is how we demonstrate that we are improving training as a process. That's pretty much it. Okay, so this brings this session to an end. I believe that it was a very insightful session. All right, I'll have to do something about my camera. I don't know, it's coming from the MacBook, and I just have to make way to see my other screen. That's why I do like this, but it is what it is. I mean, we're gonna improve. Now take note that this live is something we're gonna be doing every single day, so we're gonna be improving from time to time, right? All right. Okay, so I believe that this has been an insightful one. I'll just check if there were any comment from anyone on any platform. Yes, so I don't see any comments yet, but if you have any question, you can always put it in the the comment section, so I'm gonna see that and respond to them. But like I said, this is the forum where we will be throwing more light into our template. Basically, that's how we also support. If you have any concerns, or if you have any doubts, or you have any reservations, all you need to just put in the comment section. We are open to feedback. We are committed to continual improvement, and we are always making sure that we are considering your feedback. We can have a meeting. You can always book a meeting with me so that we can evaluate any template that you don't understand. You can make your contribution as well. We're going to consider that in our template, right? In our customization. Now take note that we perform customization service. You can, improve your templates. You can introduce dashboard in your template. All you need to do is just, hit us up. Visit us on www.SHEQXEL.com. Okay, and then you can always get in touch with me. It's very simple to book a meeting with me. This is our website, right? You can always visit us on this website, and then we can always engage. So thank you all for your attention. Thank you all for passing through. I believe that this has been an insightful presentation. I'm going to see you again in another video. Bye for now.